Welcome back, my peeps. For some reason, I lost the audio to this tutorial. So you're going to have to hear me talk more than ever. Anyways, we're going to make a strawberry, like a dessert. And you're going to need to get some of those strawberry slices like we used on that strawberry shortcake, which we made in my last tutorial. So I kind of already, like set up the dessert cup because you have to let it dry in between layers. So this is what it looks like. You know, I have already set it up. I lined it up with strawberries, with the same strawberry slices we used in the last cake. And the bottom, it looks like cake, but it's actually sand. It's sand, Mod Podge, and paint. I mixed it up and I made sure that it was kind of like a wet mixture. And I put it on the bottom of my cup. Now, keep in mind that I made that crumb part like last year. And I just had it sitting there for a while. And I didn't really do anything with it. So, I thought it would be a good use to make a strawberry dessert for you guys this time. So, I used I thought I had made it, cause like I said, I did it last year. I thought I had made it with, like regular sand, like a fine sand, but I didn't. But in here, I'm showing you that I made it with the fine sand, but I didn't because, like I said, I made it so long ago, I forgot what sand I used. But as we move along in the tutorial, you'll see that I used a coarse sand, and I couldn't find it at the moment, but I did find it in between letting the layers dry. I went and looked for it, and you will see it as you go further down in the tutorial. But I found it at Dollar Tree, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to mix it with Mod Podge, a little bit of paint, and your sand mixture, okay? And that's how you're going to get that layer at the bottom. You got to make sure it's very wet because that's where the air bubbles are going to come in, and they're going to make those holes that make it look like cake. But you don't have to make it look like that. It could just be a straight up layer, like a crumb layer. So if you only have regular sand, that's fine. You can use that. But I didn't know that this was going to happen. This is just how it worked out for me. I don't know if it was because of the weather or whatever, but it made those bubbles in between the sand mixture to make it look like cake. So you use what you have. You don't have to go out buy no special sand or anything like that. Just use what you have. But it just so happened that that's what worked out for me, and I'm explaining it to you guys in case that's, you know, if it works for you or it happens for your dessert. But if it doesn't, it's fine with just the sand. I'm adding a little bit more sand because I wanted it to be a little bit more thicker. So I mixed in some more sand, and then I'm going to put it in a cup. And once you do this part, you need to let it dry like really well, because we are going to be doing a lot of layering in this dessert. And when you have moisture and there's no air, there's a possibility that mold could start forming. And we don't want that. We don't want mold to form in our pretty dessert, right? So when you put this part in your cup, make sure that you let it dry for at least a day or so, because Mod Podge does take a while to dry. That's one thing about Mod Podge. It does take long to dry. But you put it in the bottom of your cup and you let that dry, and then you move on to the next layer. Now be careful that you don't let the sand hit the side of the glass, because then you're going to have to wipe it down and it's going to get smeared and it's not going to look good. So just go straight down into the cup. Try not to, let it hit the sides of the glass, okay? Then you're just going to let that layer dry. You must let it dry because the spackle is also wet. Wet sand and wet spackle is a great environment for mold. So just please let it dry in between layers. That's why I like to let my stuff dry in between doing layers, because I don't want mold to come onto my pretty fake bake, right? We don't want that. Then that's going to be a lot of product wasted, and we want to keep fake baking fun. And when you see mold, I never got mold on any of my fake bakes, but I don't think that wouldn't be fun. It just wouldn't be fun. So just let it dry for a day or so, and then you come back to it, okay? Now, if you don't have sand, but you have corn cob bedding, use that. You could take, I just put regular corn cob bedding and Mod Podge together, mixed it together in a little bowl, and then put it on the bottom of my dessert cup. You can also add paint if you wanted to have like more of a cake-like color. I use classic caramel. Classic caramel, that's my favorite go-to color for all my fake bakes. So yeah, just add some cake, corn, whatever you call that daggone thing, cake cob, and some Mod Podge, and you got your bottom. So right here, I'm gonna show you guys what I did to get the strawberry slices to stick to the cup. So I took me some Aleene's tacky glue, the clear one, and I just put some around the glass. Then I got a brush and I painted it up the sides, because that's how we're going to get our strawberry slices to stick on there. Now, you don't want to put too much glue. You want a very thin layer. You don't want it to be gloppy and goopy and all that stuff. You want a thin layer of glue. And you're going to take your brush and you're just going to, you know, make sure you spread it out nice and thinly, not too thick. Because then you're going to take a little bit of glue and you're going to add that to your strawberry. And you're going to put that on just a little bit of glue. Don't get crazy with the glue. You don't want it to look too nasty, or, you know, let the glue smear through and all that. No, we don't want that. So you're going to go all around the cup the way I did in that other cup over there. Just go put all the slices all around the cup. Then you're going to go to the top of the cup and you're going to put some more glue. And what we're going to do is we're going to put bits and pieces of strawberry at the top, so it could look like when you put your spackle, you can see bits and pieces of strawberry. Like when you look at real like strawberry ice cream, or when you make a strawberry dessert, you want to see those bits of strawberry. So what I did was, at first I cut the strawberries too small and it started looking like peppermint. That's not what we want. We don't want it to look like peppermint. So what I took a slice and I cut it in half, and then I cut those halves in half so it could look, you know, like strawberry, not peppermint. So don't cut the pieces too small. You want them big enough that you can see the strawberry part, right? Then you're going to take that and you're going to glue pieces here and there and there and here, you know, on your glass, so that it looks like bits and pieces of strawberry. And then I took a piece of red air dry clay and I let it dry out. And then I took that and I cut it up and I made little crumbs, like crumbles. And I took some of those and I also glued that onto the glass. Like, you know, I put a couple here and a couple there. And so like that, it looks like pieces of strawberry in your dessert, okay? So you're going to go around the glass. Now, don't put too many where it becomes overwhelming, because, you know, strawberries, they only have little bits and pieces here, not all, like, overwhelming the whole glass, right? So you're going to do that. And let that dry. You definitely have to let that dry 100%, because if you try to put spackle on it, it's just going to move around. It's not going to stay in place. So my cup is already dry because I did that beforehand. And I got me some spackle. Now, this is white spackle. I just added the lightest pink acrylic color I had. A very light color, because we want it to look like strawberry. Don't make it too bright. Don't use like a hot pink or anything like that. Try to use a very light pink color acrylic. Now mix it up real good. I didn't mix mine up. We're going to have little specks of white. And we don't want no white. We want all strawberry looking color. So mix it up pretty good, okay? Then you're just going to take this and you're going to lightly smear it inside your cup. We've done this before when we made like milkshakes and stuff like that. Just lightly. You don't need a lot. You just need enough to cover what's inside the glass. Okay? That's all we doing is covering what's inside stuck onto the cup. So make sure you do good coverage. Make sure you go all the way to the bottom because the strawberry slices have gaps in it, you know, from where they meet, and you want to make sure that those little areas are covered up really well, okay? Because once you put the top on and you realize that you have gaps, you can't fix it. So make sure you go all the way down to the bottom and fill the gaps in between the strawberries and stuff, okay? And as you can see, it looks really nice once you put that spackle on there. And put a light, thin coat of spackle. You don't need a lot. As a matter of fact, if you put too much, it starts to crack. So a light coating of spackle is just fine. Okay? Now you're going to go all the way around. Make sure you're filling all those little holes. And don't use too much spackle. First of all, you don't want to use too much spackle. Because let me tell you something. This spackle is expensive. I remember we was getting spackle for pretty cheap. Not no more. You got to use it sparingly. I don't really try to use too much spackle in my... I mean, I do, but I know other fake bakers, they use it, like, really a lot. And if I do use it, I try to use, use minimally. Because I don't know. But now with clay, you could have did this with clay too if you smash some clay up against it. Clay is cheaper than spackle, honey. Let me tell y'all. But we're going to be making some clay fake bakes too because clay is much cheaper than spackle. Now go in there and make sure that you have... Now look around. Look at your cup. Make sure, go around. Look all the way around. Make sure you don't have no gaps. There's no holes. And then look how good that looks. Don't it look good? It looks yummy. So make sure everything is A-okay. And then you are going to make sure you clean off the edge. Because once the spackle dries, it's very hard to, you know, get it off of there and stuff. And we want it to look nice and neat. I'm checking for the gaps. Make sure I don't have any gaps. I'm good. No gaps. Now you're going to let this dry. Okay? 100%. Like, let it dry really well. I mean, you can let it dry overnight. It'll be best. Because we're going to put, you know, our little cardboard. Not cardboard. Our toilet paper roll. And a piece of cardboard on the top to make it look, give it the illusion of a full cup of dessert. But really, we just not gonna do that because we don't got time to be wasting no spackle like that. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna get your piece of you're gonna get your glue gun, plug that in, let that dry first. Then you're gonna get your glue gun and your piece of toilet paper roll or any piece of paper that you have. You can roll it up, put it in there, just because this is going to be our filler, so we don't have to use spackle to fill up the whole cup, because that's definitely a waste of spackle. You guys see me do this several times. This is not, I mean, you see me do it before. Cut the tube short enough so it's just under the rim of the cup. Just under the rim. Because then we're going to put a piece of, a round piece of cardboard on the inside. And then, you know, we're going to cover that with spackle. I hate this glue gun. Ever since I had to get rid of my favorite glue gun, my crafting life has not been the same, but I have to make do. Anyway, guys, so I got the round piece. I'm going to glue it and I'm going to put it right on top of that so that we can fill, well, make it look like it's filled, but we just gonna cover it with some spackle to give it the illusion of being filled. But make sure you grab all those glue webs, because once you put your spackle down and you pull a glue web, it will mess up your whole piece, because them glue webs are terrible. But we got our piece ready to be covered in spackle. Just give it a minute to dry before you put your spackle on there. This whole thing is a layer process. You gotta let this dry, put the next part, let that dry, put the next part, if you want your stuff to come out nice, you have to be patient, okay? So I'm gonna take my pink spackle and I'm just gonna put some on the top. Smear it right on the top. You see that? Cover that up really well. Make sure you get good coverage. You don't want to have any openings, because it'll crack. If you have an opening in it, it will crack. So make sure you have it covered nicely. Take your time. Make sure you get all the edges. Look around. Make sure everything is covered nicely. And just smooth it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because is a I don't know what you call this. Is it a pudding? Is it ice cream? Is it what not? I don't know. I'm just calling it a strawberry dessert. You know? Now you want to make sure that you wipe the top and, you know, have a clean, smooth edge. I got my wet wipe right here, and I just went around the edge, like, to try to keep it, you know, as clean and as neat as possible, because you don't want to go through all this work and have rough, jagged edges when the spackle dries, you know. So make sure you clean it up nicely. Okay. And then you're gonna let this layer dry. Sorry guys, but that's how it works best, by letting each layer dry. When you move on to the next step, it makes it so much better when you know that everything else is already dry. Okay, so here I am still wiping, because I just found another little corner that's not looking good. But that's how it is. Alright guys, now let this part dry. But look how good, look how nice this looks. It looks so good, don't it? It looks delicious. Anyway, enough of that. Let that dry really well, and then we're gonna move on to the next stop. The next part. So I forgot to tell you guys to make sure you put a couple of pieces of red crunch crumbles or whatever on the top, so that it looks like, you know, ice cream. Okay, make sure you just put not too much, just a little bit, just to make it look like the rest of the dessert, you know. And then I glued a little piece of foam on the top. Or I always do that because I just like to, it helps with the form and it gives you a little bit of height. And you make sure that your spackle doesn't fall on top of itself, you know. So, this is, like we talked about the sand earlier, but this, see how it dried, but it looked kind of flat, and it didn't make those little air holes like I did. But I mean, it's still perfectly fine. But this is the sand that I was talking about from Dollar Tree. It's a bit more coarse. It's not fine like the sand that I used initially. And I found the sand later on as I was letting the layers dry. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I don't want you to be like, oh, it didn't bubble up for me. It might not bubble up. I'm telling you, this was just something that happened. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know I was going to get that cakey looking layer. But this is the sand that I used, and I got it from Dollar Tree. Like I said, you mix it with a little bit of paint, Mod Podge, and you put the sand in there. The little bit of coarse sand that I got from Dollar Tree. And for some reason, it bubbled up like that, and it looked like cake. And I'm hoping that you get the same texture too. But if you don't, please forgive me. But I don't know if it was because of the weather or I have no idea. But still, it's still going to look nice. It's still going to be a crumb layer. It's still going to be a cake layer. It's just, I just wanted to share that with you guys because, I make mistakes and I want you guys to see my mistakes. And if I remember a technique that I did and I didn't share it properly, I like to go back and let you guys know what has happened and why it didn't work out and why I think that it will work out this time. Remember, I made that layer last year, so it's been a while since I made that layer. So I'm gonna put the whipped cream on top of here, but I don't know, I just can't stop looking at it. Like, it's so pretty, it looks so delicious, like, it's funny. So I made a couple of things that I'm gonna put like on top. I'm thinking I might put on top. I got a little heart cookie, a chocolate heart cookie, and I even made a chocolate dipped strawberry, but I don't know if I'm gonna use that. I might just use the slice of the strawberry. That's like the ones inside the cup, and we'll see how it goes. I also got a couple of like diamond dot sprinkles I'm gonna put on there, some fine glitter, and I have my spackle, which is just white spackle and paint. And this is a new wax pencil. That's the old wax pencil I showed you guys. This one is a little fancy. I like the tip at the top because it helps you move your sprinkles around. So I'll leave a link for that down at the bottom or at the top under the video description. And I wanted to share something else with you guys real quick. The cover I have on my spackle is actually that fingertip thing you use when you using your hot glue. What they call that? A rubber finger. Oh my goodness. For when you're using a hot glue gun. I had those Wilton tip covers to use on your piping tips, but let me tell you something. Them things never fit on my tips. It never fits. It's just like it always comes off. It's not really reliable. Okay? But I found that if you use the rubber fingers from Dollar Tree, they fit perfectly over the tip. And not only that, they stretch a little bit so they fit nice and snug. And I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it. Because them Wilton ones are not it. They come off. They're not helpful at all. And they cost, I think, like $3, and you get 3. And you get 3 of those rubber finger things from Dollar Tree in a pack. Okay? So, go get you some of those from Dollar Tree and use that for your spackle. The tips on your spackle. And it works excellent. Okay? I just wanted to share that little tip with you guys. So, the tip that I'm using here for the whipped cream is 2D. The 2D tip from Wilton. That's what I'm going to be using. And I'm not going to do a swirl. I'm not going to make a swirl. I'm going to just dab it, like go up and down and all around like that until I build a little height. And don't put too much where you cover the ice cream underneath. You still want to see some of that strawberry ice cream underneath. So try to get as close in as you can so you can see some of that strawberry on top, okay? So I'm going up and down, in and out. That's all I'm doing. I'm not making a swirl. And I'm just going to build a little bit of height. I don't want to put too much where it looks like it's overdone and stuff like that. Because you guys know that I'm a minimalist. You see, I think that's perfect amount of like whipped cream. And you can still see the ice cream on the top with the little bits of strawberry. That's what you want, okay? Don't overwhelm it. I mean, you do it however you want, honey. That's up to you. This is how I'm doing it, okay? So there I go, putting my tip back on my bag. I'm so excited about that because the Wilton tips was not doing it. But anyways, now I'm looking for my front. Make sure that I don't pick a bad side. And I'm thinking, should I put this chocolate covered strawberry on there? And then I'm like, nah, it's kind of too big. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put a strawberry slice on top. Maybe I should have put more than one, but you know. And then I chose to put the chocolate cookie. And that's it. I'm going to leave it like that, you know. Yeah, I know I don't be like to do too much. I like to keep it simple. And then I'm going to put some of these glue dots. Diamond dots on there, here and there, and everywhere to make it look nice. The diamond dots, you can find those at Hobby Lobby. You don't have to buy a diamond dot kit. They sell the diamond dots separately. I don't remember if I saw them at Walmart. I never did see them at Walmart. Not mine anyway. Michael's. I'm sure Michael's does have them. I just never paid attention. But those diamond dot sprinkles are really nice. They're nice and sparkly and pretty. And they come in so many colors. So many colors. So anyway, I put a couple here, there, and everywhere. Just because I didn't want to put regular sprinkles on there. So I just kind of put the diamond dots on there. But I'm going to finish this off camera because you don't want to see me putting diamond dots on this thing for 2 hours. Now I'm just kidding. But I'll come back once it's done. So guys, I'm finished with the diamond dots. And you can sprinkle some glitter on it if you like. Totally up to you. You know. You do it how you want. You put as much as you want. But this is it, guys. I hope you like it, and I hope you make one. Talk to you soon. God bless. Bye.